Hey everyone, good afternoon. Happy Friday. It's Friday. My name is Yvette and I am the co-host along with my girl Carolina. We are here for our weekly show with Miami View Women. We are excited, super excited to welcome Ana Perello. Spanish, so here we go. Ana Perello.
Yes.
It's kind of close. So she is a manager for the Academic Year Internship Office of Community Engagement with Miami-Dade Public Schools. Talk about internships, students, and we are so excited to have you here, and we're looking forward to a very spirited and informative with you. On to our hot topics for the week. You watched the presidential speech this week with the two amazing on the they were in the back of him. President Kamala Harris and also House Speaker Nancy. How amazing. I mean, it was unfortunate first. My daughter, why are we still doing first? Why is this not a normal? But we have to start somewhere. So I know, Carolina, I know your daughter and you. I know you were excited about it. So any feelings on that?
Yes, thank you for introducing that. So yes, the presidential address was really interesting because it was a historic moment, right? You had Kamala Harris, the Speaker of the House, and the VP, Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, behind the president. And I'm watching the speech, Anna, you're gonna appreciate this, with my daughter who's 11. And I'm thinking this is historic. It is historic, that's factual. And I'm proud, and two women finally being represented, right? So I come from Generation X. Camila's Generation Z. Camila's looking at me like, Mom, why is this so important? Why is this so historic? Why do we not have a woman president? Why are these two women sitting behind a white man? I don't understand the history. I don't understand the meaning. And so in my mind, just went, push, right? Because how generational is that? Like when you are viewing something in your generation of history and everything that we've had to go through to get to this moment. And then you have an 11-year-old saying, this is wrong. We still don't have a woman president. Oh no, I think we lost Yvette. We were having technical issues, but we'll get her back. So you know what I mean? And I know you know a little bit about this because you work with students, you work with interns, and I'm sure the difference between you and them and the mindset is so unequivocally different, right?
Absolutely.
What you're feeling with the presidential address?
I felt this very same as you. It was a historic moment. But unfortunately, I have a 9-year-old at home who, for him, was okay. It's just another another speech, a woman behind another man. It's whatever. He didn't care too much of it. But growing up and never seeing a woman sitting behind a president before, for me it was very historic. It was a very touching moment. So there's always that's why I believe really a lot in this program, in the Academic Year Internship Program, because it allowed us, the older, I would say the employers or different generations, have a better perspective of what's going on in our modern world, of how they think and how these students are they're going to be our future leaders, right? They're going to someday take on the roles that we have. So it's good to see what their generation is used to and how their perspective is.
Yes. And I'm sure it's mind-blowing. Like you're saying, I mean, what a difference, right? We were touched and it was monumental, and our kids were like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Woman, you said it perfectly. Yvette, welcome back. I know you're having technical issues, so we're so happy to have you. But Ana said something perfectly that her child said it's just another woman behind a man. Bam, right? So thank you for sharing that. The other hot topic that happened this week was trans sports were banned. In 23 years, this is, for me, the most explicit anti-LGBTQ piece of legislation that has gone through. And really, Republicans banned transgender athletes. And I find it extremely discriminatory. I find it quite devastating for our youth. And as what we were just talking about, us supporting our students and supporting our youth is vital to their existence, is vital to their growth and their success. So for me, this was very devastating that happened this week. How do you feel about that, Yvette and Ana?
I was definitely very, very, very disappointed. I have a few friends, personal friends who, children who are transgender children. And, this just sent the wrong, I think that the Republican Party is really in touch with our community and our world. And I hope that there is going to definitely be some backlash for this, that, we really, really need to start being way more before these things come to pass. So I was really, really very disappointed,
So some companies are already saying that they want to ban Florida because of this discriminatory legislation that DeSantis is going to sign. He says that he needs to protect the girls, and that this is very important to protect our girls. Okay, so we are moms of girls, and this doesn't make sense to us because we don't feel that they're being more protected. We just feel that there's more exclusion, more discrimination, and it's unjust. How about you, Ana?
I agree with your comments. I mean, I find it very disappointing because it kind of excludes us women to be partaking groups such as sports. In my community, I'm not seeing it because the 9-year-old that lives with us, he's in American flag football. And for the first time, I grew up making sure, in women, the girls' sports and the boys' sports. I never saw a mixture, but I saw last football season, there was a girl in the opponent's team, and it was fantastic. She was amazing. She was a good runner. And then this season, we have 3 girls in the other team. So it's fantastic that the girls feel that they can be part of a sport that way, that it does not exclude them from just because of a specific gender. They can also have fun and be a kid.
Yes, and I love that example. Thank you so much for sharing, because that's like real time. A girl in a football team. So what's the difference, right?
Right.
And in good news, I'm really feeling this because I'm Colombian. I was born in Colombia. I immigrated here when I was 6. I know you're from Honduras, and you're going to tell us more about you. You also immigrated here when you were 6 or 7. So now our undocumented domestic workers and farm workers who had been turned away from getting vaccinated for lack of proof of residency are now able to get vaccinated because there's some places that are not requiring you to show that proof of residency. So I'm really happy for undocumented farm workers, our domestic workers. It's definitely about time that they were in line for the vaccine. And that's
Absolutely.
it on that topics. Any thoughts on that? Ana?
Yeah, I mean, when I actually read that today in the morning, I got a notification, and I felt that here in Miami, especially, we have we have a lot of immigrant families, and to get vaccinated keeps their family safe, right? And if there's children, they're at home. We want to make sure that they're safe and they can go to do every child activity. So making sure that that is accessible to them ensures that our community can, moves in a direction where we're all safe.
Yes.
Definitely.
Miriam, who is in the background, is asking, do you all think that they will get the vaccinations? I don't know if she's referring to the students or to the...
Probably the undocumented community. I think it's going to be telling. I think that there's definitely still going to be some hesitation that people believe, or think that when they show up, something might happen. So I think that it's going to just, we'll have to just wait and see. But I think that they're going to be not trusting and very hesitant to get it, not because they don't want to, but that just because they feel like there might be some backlash or, that they might get in trouble. So it's going to be very interesting to see.
Yes, thank you for that perspective.
Wait and see. We're on to Anna.
Yay!
An product of an internship. I think that the work that you do is so very important, and it's so exciting for students, an opportunity able, partake in an internship that provides and a little taste of what the real world is all about, what they might want to do when get a little older after school or maybe high school. So tell us a little bit about yourself first. You're originally from Honduras. You've been in Miami for...
So I've been in Miami since 2002, but I had lived prior to Miami in New York. So I went to New York public schools for about 2 years before coming to Miami. So it seems like I follow the urban cities or somehow, but so I came to Miami and I went to public schools from elementary all the way to high school. And I graduated from FIU with a bachelor's in communications in a minor in public relations. But so I did an internship at a South Florida Community Development Coalition, and I love the nonprofit. I felt that my work that benefits our community was something that I want to be pursuing as a career. So I did an internship in there at the school district, and I also got a part-time job, and then I moved positions, and then I was 4 years ago I got offered the role to be the manager of the Academic Year Internship Program. So when I first took on the role, we had to revamp the whole program to make it accessible to all students. So we lowered the GPA. We allow more. We created a website with all the information. So for students that are on the internet or can just Google internships in Miami, that our website would pop up. So they have that information at the fingertips. We trained several of our high schools to ensure that students at the school site level get the information. And we did a lot of community outreach and continue to do a lot of community outreach to the different organizations. So we currently have about 700 entities that host our students, and on average, we have 1,000 students participating. But every year, but because of COVID, we have about 700 participating now. But we anticipate that number to go back up once the next school year begins, as businesses are starting to operate, and we see it in our traffic. We see it every day when we open our doors, how busy Miami's getting again. So we anticipate a lot of organizations to open their doors for our students.
That's fantastic. And what businesses are you currently working with?
We have several. I would say we work with the 11th Judicial Circuit Court. So our judges have the opportunity to host our students. So students right now and for COVID, they would do virtual Zoom court. So they would join in, which is pretty cool for them to have access. Yeah. But when pre-COVID, they would go to their chambers, be part of trials. So it was really wonderful to see that they don't have to go to law school to be part of an internship that way. We had students, right now we have 3 students in Jackson Memorial Hospital. We had and usually we have about 20 pre-COVID, but these students are reporting virtual. And what they're learning this year is the history of Jackson. If you've never been to Jackson Memorial, to the original building, it is a beautiful building. You get to see the old equipment, you see the old nurses' uniforms, and I didn't know that lived here. I didn't know that lived there until I went in and I spoke, and I wanted to see what the students were doing. So those are the type of internships we have. We have them in law firms too. We have students in private medical clinics. We have them in veterinary clinics. We have them in small businesses or e-commerce, like fashion jewelry. Those are really popular with girls when they do when they do a lot of the social media of the jewelry and all of that good stuff. We also have them with your producer Miriam in one of her businesses, and she has had an amazing experience with them, and they've had a great experience with her.
Yes, well, Miriam is a rock star, so I don't see, why they wouldn't, because she is a really fantastic mentor who is also a producer. Yes.
Yeah.
What's the process for a business? Primarily go for the business to participate, or does the business, you guys say, hey, we'd like to host an intern school year?
I'm sorry, repeat that one more time.
What is the process? A business locate the program, or do you locate the business?
Both. So it works both ways. So we do several and it's ongoing community outreach campaigns on our social media, on email marketing. We reach out to several of our chambers of commerce in the different areas, municipalities, to get the word out to their members. We also have a website where the providers can go and get all the information. So if a provider is interested in hosting an intern, we have an online matching system where they would register, and the information automatically, once they click that register button, gets to the district office, and we reach out to the provider to get them on board and provide them with the handbook of all the responsibilities that it takes to be an internship provider. But essentially, the objective of the program is for the provider to share the time and talent to the student, for the student to shadow a professional in an industry. So it's very traditional internship program where the relationship between the student and the provider it fosters and strengthens throughout the time, because they are reporting 10 months for the entire school year. So they begin reporting at the beginning of the school year, which is in August, all the way to May, 5 to 10 hours a week. So that just the amount of hours that they're reporting and the frequency allows them to create relationships even in the workplace that they're reporting to, but also with the person that's supervising them.
I love that. Miriam is asking, has the deadline been extended for businesses to apply? Yes,
it has been extended. So we currently we're currently still accepting registrations and processing the agreements with businesses for them to promote the opportunities and for students to apply and interview. Right now, students are interviewing for next year. The goal is to get them in an internship by the end of next month. So when they go on summer break, they return to school. Once the school year begins, they begin reporting, and that's how they can really take the experience from the beginning of the year all the way to the end.
So I'm loving this.
Ana, what's some of the feedback? What's some of the feedback you get from some of the students at the end of the school year?
I love one of the feedbacks that I see year to year, and I've been doing this for 4 years, is I never knew that I would like this type of career until I stepped foot inside, right? One of them would be, I never knew that I like customers or like customer service. So one of those feedback is, but me having to step foot in a workplace and having to talk to colleagues and coworkers and my supervisor, and the customer, if there was let's say a front had an office and the customers go in, having to speak with the customers and troubleshoot different things. They never had to do that before if they've never had a job. So the internship allows them to experience that.
It's funny because when we were, in school and younger, I did an advertising internship and I hated it. I was like, nope, this isn't for me. And then at that age, because you evolve and you change. At that age, I also did a PR internship and I hated it. Finally, I knew I was going to do communications, right? And then I finally did broadcast journalism. And I did an internship with NBC6, or Investigative, for Telemundo and Univision, and all of these internships. I was like, yes, this is my lane. This is what I like. I found it. And it is so hard because you're at an age that you're exploring so many different options to you. And internships are vital to that, But then on the other spectrum, I also had, and this comes with a question, I also had support from counselors and from the school who were really, really helping me through this process, right? Because my mom was working 20, just very long hours. She wasn't able at that time to be involved with my schooling. So I was fully dependent on myself and my school. So how are the resources for the kids now in Miami-Dade County, especially with COVID, especially in this really difficult time? Are they getting the resources they need when their parents, like mine, is working and just can't be as involved?
So that's a great question. So if a student is doing a virtual internship, for example, the resources they have is every high school has a school site internship coordinator. So at their school site, they have one person that specializes with this program, knows all the forms, has the forms with them to provide to the student and walk them through. Now, if a parent needs help, the point of contact is also the school site coordinator, along with the principal or assistant principal at the school. One thing that we do is we try to ensure that the experience is between the student and the provider. So we try not to hone too much on paperwork for them. We really want them to have that workplace experience. So we do it in steps throughout the year, even prior to a school year. So when the school year begins, when they report, they don't have to worry about forms besides grade evaluations and log sheets. So we try to make it in a way that it's not too much for the business, but as well for the student, so they can get that experience. But if a parent ever needs help, that's when there's a school coordinator or our office. We have several parents calling our office, always an email away. We have they call the main number. There's 3 languages that they can choose. So it's English and Spanish and Haitian Creole. So if there's any questions that a parent may need or clarification, we have those different language translators that can assist parents.
At what grade do you start to trickle out some of the information to the parents and the students? This opportunity is going to come up, say the next year. Is there kind of communication just in the grade that comes, to life?
So the school site coordinators begin sending out information in the fall. So for the students that right now are interviewing for next year, several of them already heard this information back at the beginning of the year, or beginning of October all the way to February. The coordinators are putting this information out in different ways, right? It could be Class Dojo, which is a lot of our schools use to communicate with students and parents. Microsoft Teams. They also, several of them put it on social media. We do, or they host assemblies at the school where they make an announcement that they're going to discuss internships and how they can become a student intern and the different opportunities that are out there for them. And then they also do where at least I knew before COVID. I'm going to keep saying before COVID,
Yeah.
where the coordinators will allow the parents and students to come in that way, because there's an agreement that needs to be signed between the parent and the student for them to come in so they know a little bit more about the internship program. So those are the different things that are done at the school site level to get the information out to the student, but as well for the parent to feel involved or they know a little bit more about internships. This is coming even from me, that my mother, from her, became when I was 7 years old. So I just told you how old my mom was. She didn't know what internships was. For her, an internship was what medical students did after out of medical school. So for her, what we think is internships for her was just like a job offer, and essentially it really is. There's a difference, right? But in high school, she never experienced that in her age and her generation. But we're seeing it a lot now in this generation, where we're pushing for students to get experience before they graduate high school, not only for them to know what they want to do, but also for them to be more competitive in the competitive workforce.
And now that you've shared a little bit more personal about yourself, I know you're a product of the public school system, as am I, and you were in their shoes as well. So how does it feel for you in particular to have had internships? I hope you've had internships, when you were younger, I'm just assuming, and then now leading and managing, Miami-Dade and students, and being in the forefront of this, and really changing kids' lives and business lives as well. Because I will tell you, I wanted to give a shout out to Sabrina and Javier, who are our two interns for this show, who came from you because Miriam brought them in. And really, this show flows much better because of them. So they help us with social media. They help us with everything. And so we thank you for that, because our project can survive and our project can grow. But it is a life changer for all of us. So how do you feel now being in the forefront?
I feel wonderful. I feel, for me, it gives me more of a meaning. It gives me more of a meaning to go to work. I tell the students that even if you have to do this internship for graduation, it's going to make a difference in your life. Whether you're just doing it because a parent pushes you in, or you just because you have to do it, it's going to make a difference in your life, because you're going to have more contacts you had before. You're going to see what it's required of you to work in, and if you do fail, they give you an opportunity. So these are people that are opening the doors, but also tell the businesses is that what they're going to learn a lot more from students, and they think they're going to learn from them. It's a really win-win, because I have interns too, and I've had them for the past 4 years. And I remember that I thought it was going to be easy. I'm like, okay, they're high school, they're going to be easy. And it was wonderful. But I learned a lot about myself than I knew before. I learned that the way I have to teach is maybe a different approach depending on personalities. I learned that the way I teach is how productive my work is going to be, right? I learned that I have to kind of break down things more in steps, and then also navigate different personalities. And I never had that before. I've always been in different, I've worked in other businesses too, but with the student it was just different. But also when they taught me something, I was like, wow, like I thought I knew it all. But I didn't know Instagram just came up with a new feature. Okay, I didn't know that Microsoft did this. Okay, well, I didn't know Zoom had this functionality, or I can actually have an app that does everything. So they surprise me every single time. I feel that students in high school now are much more, what is the right phrase? I think they were a lot smarter than when I was in high school. They are so much smarter. They are like little adults, honestly, and they surprise me on how involved they are with their school. And because it's more competitive, I see it more competitive now than it was before. Now they expect you to have a long list of experience, and what's the best way to do it when you start doing an internship before high school?
Yeah. As the program continues to grow, are there any industries being to tap into that you don't currently have in the portfolio of companies?
Well, we have, but what we need more of is technology and coding. It is very popular. Students want to learn from these companies, but there's not very many of them here in Miami. I know that several of I wouldn't say politicians, but even Mayor Suarez has been wanting these tech companies to come to Miami, and
they're
they're coming, right? Okay.
They're not here yet, but they're
absolutely. We want a little bit more. Because the students, everything's technology now, and it's a very popular industry. Students, the few that we have, they filled up really quick, and they get a lot of resumes. So those are the ones that we want. We definitely need more in the north and south area of our county. That's where we don't have a lot of business participation, but we definitely need more. What else? We need medical is another popular. I know because of COVID, it may be a little challenging, but medical, coding, technology, businesses are the most popular.
What if kids want to work with animals and nature? How does that work?
So we have a lot of veterinary clinics. We actually do have students in the Zoo Miami. We're in discussion of having some in Everglades National Park. So we do have internship where students that are interested in animals can participate as well. We have them in Monkey Jungle. So those are the different internships we do have. So.
One of my clients owns his own funeral, actually owns 2 in Miami and his 3 in Haiti. So I should definitely plug. Surprisingly, young people have an interest in going in, and that's a business that will never go out of business, unfortunately, is working in a funeral home. And he learned every aspect of involved, just running the company for his family. I have to plug you guys because I could see not everybody wants to go to traditional medical, that's a good industry.
Yeah,
and
it's
like
it's tapping into something completely different, right? And sometimes we, as an adult, we might think it's scary, but maybe a student might think this is fascinating. I want to do that. So thank you, Yvette, for sharing that. That's really
there's a Netflix show. I think it's Bernard something funeral home or something like that. But they do marketings. They do ads. I've seen them.
It's
I don't know if you've seen it, but
yeah. I am though.
It's a business.
I did specifically want to ask because it's been COVID, right? And I know Miami-Dade, the superintendent, everyone has said we have lost some students because they don't have the internet, they don't have computers. We've lost touch with them. I mean, the superintendent said that himself. What can we do to engage them? What is this program doing to engage them, and all the resources, to kind of close that gap and really uplift them and support them?
That's a great question. So in the office that I report to, we also have a program called the Day Partners Program, where we actually partner with other organizations to provide to close those gaps. So working with different organizations with providing laptops to those students or hotspots. Those are the ones. So if there's a way that a community can help is to connect with the school district and assisting in closing those gaps and allowing students to have access.
That's great. That's great to know. Yeah, we did a show not too long ago that, that there are quite a few students that were still without, working laptops. So that's so if I'm a student and maybe next year I might want to participate, what could I do as a student just to kind of prepare mentally or maybe do some research? Is there anything that I can do if I'm one of those students that's just kind of like, okay, or how do the student kind of prepares? Do you go through the protocol of how to dress and to be on time, or is that something that they kind of learn on the
both? So what we have in the handbook that we provide to students, we have sort of best practices, be on time. Hi. Got your back.
We're having tech issues. I'm sorry. If it's not Yvette, it's me. We apologize, Ana.
No worries. Yvette was just asking if a student was interested in participating, what can they do to get ready now or find a little bit more information? And I was discussing is in the handbook we have sort of best practices on how to dress, be on time, have a resume when you go on an interview. And also how to conduct virtual internships, right? How to make sure that you have a good lighting, make sure you have connectivity, make sure that your camera's on, and also dressed to impress. So those are the things that we give tips in the handbook. But like I mentioned, in each high school, there's a school site internship coordinator that we have the list of the names on our website. So if a student is interested and they just want to go up to someone at their school, they can click on that link and find their school and who that person is with their phone number. So they can easily contact that teacher or counselor on learning how to get not only a handbook, but what forms do they have to collect from them and also turn in at a certain deadline.
And Ana and Yvette, so Miriam is in the background saying, we have run out of time. And we loved having you. I know next week we're going to have Latoya Stirrup, co-founder of Miami-based brand Cosmalidge. Can you say that for me? And so we're excited about that. But again, a shout out to Javier and Sabrina, our interns who came straight from you. And thank you so much for really giving us so much information and really helping us support businesses as well as students and simultaneously help each other out in this time. So thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.